Hi, I'm Kaylee,
I'm Kirsten.
I'm Marissa.
I'm Aaron.
and we're just gonna talk about the TED Talk video we just watched.
In response.
Yep.
So, first of all, Leymah is kind of how you pronounce her name. She talked about a story of a young girl who really wanted to be a nurse, but the problem is that the whole village just kind of shut that down. You know, this girl, she didn't really get an opportunity to do that, and kind of when she was able to get educated, like she was the only girl that went to her school.
Yeah, she made it to 9th grade, and that was like the farthest anyone had gone.
And it was like a joke in this village, which is so crazy. I don't know, like in America, to think about that.
It'd be the opposite here. If someone were to stop school in 9th grade, you'd be like, wow, you're really stupid. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, why'd you drop out?
Yeah. I just thought it was kind of weird how they said that, oh, you're going to amount to nothing because you've gone to school for 9 years. So their perspective was just completely different than anything.
Well, they even said, like, you're gonna be poor. You're not gonna have any money. You're gonna be stuck in poverty, which is, like, the opposite. Like, no, get an education. Be smart. It's just interesting to find out the perspectives and, like, the perspectives of different countries and what they think about education and women being educated. Yeah, guest speaker.
Yeah, I always like to look just at the different atmospheres like we have in the U.S. with the education system. It's almost taken for granted, like all around, like all the way up into the college level. Like, so I know I get excited when class gets canceled. And I think about it, and I'm like, I paid for that class, and I didn't go, and I was excited about it. And there's always like the jokes of like, you choose school for school. Like some kids, you know, like the middle school age, like think they need to look cool by not going to school. And then here in Africa, it's like it's literally like frowned upon. It's all these kids want to do is go to school. Like if they don't have textbooks to take home. We have iPads that have all their textbooks on them. If they could just have a textbook to take home, like, they would do more with it than what some of the kids in the U.S. would do.
I think it's weird that like their dream, you know, is to like go to school, and like everyone in the U.S. has an opportunity to live out that dream, and how, like you said, like it's so taken advantage of. Like I don't know.
You take it for granted.
Yeah, you take it for granted, and so I think that's really interesting because you know, like we never had the option not to go to school. Like you have to go to school, and you have to be getting some kind of education, otherwise you get in trouble.
Yeah. We always like try to invent ways like, oh, I'm sick.
Yeah.
I can't go to school, Mom.
I thought it was really kind of frightening about the girls in Liberia who were pregnant, that every 3 out of 10, like, young girl was pregnant because of the rape and just, like, the degrading of women in Africa.
And it talked about how there was girls that were like as young as like 12, and they're making like less than $1 prostituting themselves, and there's condoms like littering the street like gum wrappers is how she described it. And
It's just such a gross thing.
you know that women aren't seen as these people that can change the world. It's just like, you know, they're just seen as these objects. So yeah, that's interesting.
Growing up when they were talking about that, it's like we don't have it pretty well in the U.S. They're pretty much viewed as equals now. Maybe not in like the 40s or the 50s, but now they're pretty much viewed as equal with men. We still have these like really like radical feminist groups that think they're not. Like, if they could take like the concerted efforts that they're putting in women's rights in the U.S., which are already pretty decent, and switched it to these like, poor girls in Africa that have no rights. They could. I thought like they could really get something done.
But then how can we change like that? You know, how can we change? Because the word that she is like, she made it, that Leymah or whatever, out of her situation, and she said more than anything she'd want to see other girls doing the same. And it's kind of a weird thought to be like, what can like change that? You know, like how can you give these young girls hope, and not just hope, but like opportunity.
The thing is, it's just as much of like a cultural, social norm.
Norm.
Like we grow up and we're like, okay, we're 5, we know we're going to kindergarten. And they grow up and they go, okay, I'm 5, I'm like, I know my mom or my dad. So that's, I think that's like the hardest thing to like change or like break is just like
The social
the
norm of
mindset.
education.
Yeah.
And that education shouldn't be frowned upon and shouldn't be seen as a bad investment that'll get you nowhere.
Exactly. That's 5 minutes.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, good job.